Hello and welcome to Eyes on Research, the podcast that digests the latest scientific innovations in eye research using simple and understandable terms. I am your host, Thales Guimarães, medical doctor and clinician scientist at Moorfields Eye Hospital. Hello, my friends, and as ever, welcome to another episode of Eyes on Research, your favorite science communication podcast focusing on the eyes and vision. It's very nice to have you here with me. I hope you're having a great week so far, and I'm not sure how it's looking where you're based, but we are having quite sunny days in London, so I can't really complain. I just wanted to say that I'm not sure if you know, but I was awarded the Patient and Public Involvement and Engagement Award from the Biomedical Research Center at Moorfields Eye Hospital and the UCL Institute of Ophthalmology, which was very nice. I'm very grateful for this award, and I'm happy to hear that this podcast has value and that it is helping shed a light in some topics relating to ophthalmology and our vision. Remember that this podcast was built entirely from the ground up for you. And I hope there are many good things and many cool collaborations coming in the near future. But I digress. In today's episode, we'll be talking about computer vision syndrome, also called digital eye strain. Now imagine the following circumstances. Perhaps you are an accountant or a teacher or an engineer, or maybe a director, or you may have some sort of office-based job, and you work really hard, and to varying extents, your job requires you to use computers, smartphones, or tablets, or maybe even a combination of these. And after years of doing your very nice work, you start to have difficulties using your computers. You now have constant headaches, blurry vision, a sensation that your eyes are dry or itchy, or maybe you have pain in your neck and in your shoulder. These symptoms are new and you are not sure what's going on. If that's you, stick around because it may as well be that you have computer vision syndrome. Let's separate this episode in three different sections for the sake of clarity. Let me first give you a bit of an overview on what computer vision syndrome is. Then I'll talk about the symptoms associated and its causes. And we'll finally end in the management, treatment, and prevention. Computer vision syndrome refers to a group of various symptoms that initially appear to be unrelated, but all happen when you are using computers or other sources of digital devices, right? Or the sorts of digital devices for long periods of time. And we call this digital eye strain because that's exactly what is happening. In fact, this word is more accurate than computer vision syndrome. Your eyes are under strain because of prolonged use of digital devices. And you know, these days, most of us have jobs that require us to stare at screens for many hours at a time. There's no escaping this reality anymore. We live in the era of technology. What is the prevalence of computer vision syndrome? Well, it's quite common, right? In fact, some research shows that between 50 to 90% of the people who work with computer screens will have at least one of these symptoms that we'll talk about soon. A systematic review and meta-analysis, which by the way is amongst the strongest forms of evidence available, was published earlier this year in the Journal of Optometry. It looked at 103 different studies in different populations and showed that the prevalence of computer vision syndrome in these studies ranged from 12 to 97% in the adult population. Now let that sink in, right? Some studies report that 97% of adults in some populations have some sort of symptom related to computer use. And the combined prevalence across all different studies on the systematic review was 69%, which still makes it very common, right? What are the symptoms of computer vision syndrome? Well, there's a constellation of them: dry eyes, fatigue, itching, redness in the eyes, tearing, headaches, pain in the neck or in the shoulders, blurred vision, and sometimes even double vision. Most of these symptoms are short term and temporary because they often reduce or go away when you stop using your digital devices. The issue is that they may continue for a longer time, even after you discontinue. And they also may get worse if you don't go directly to address the root of the cause and try to solve the issue. Several factors can cause digital eye strain. In fact, reading a computer, reading a text in a computer screen or a digital device is harder on the eyes than reading printed text. Amongst these factors are the screen glare, the poor lighting, uncorrected vision problems, for example, such as glasses prescription, poor posture, and a computer that's located at the wrong distance and angle from your eyes. Or maybe it's a combination of all of these factors. This means that, or it translates to, you are at a risk of developing digital eye strain if you are too close to your computer screen, if you have a bad posture while using your computer, if you spend many hours a day at your computer or your digital device, and if you don't take breaks while you are working. And what is worse is that the severity of the symptoms correlate directly with how long you use your computer screens. So I think you can see that this quickly becomes a vicious cycle. The more you use your digital devices, the more symptoms you have, then you become less productive and needs to put more effort in your work, which translates to, you guessed, more time in front of your computer screen, which causes even more symptoms. And this goes on forever and ever until you go and fix the issue. So the next question is, how do I address this, right? How can one prevent and treat computer vision syndrome? And the first thing here, I think it's just acknowledging that we live in a world that's highly digital. So it's hard to avoid having some sort of symptom, in all honesty, at least once during our careers. There are a few things, though, that one can do to prevent digital eye strain. The first one is creating a better work environment. Regardless if you work in an office or if you work at home, or even if you are field-based but you still need to use your computer a certain amount of your day. The second thing is respecting the 20-20-20 rule, and this is recommended by the American Academy of Ophthalmology, and it means that for every 20 minutes using your near vision for anything really, give yourself a 20-second break and look to something that's at least 20 feet away. Now, no one is measuring this, of course, but just look outside through your office window or perhaps go for a short walk if there are no windows in your office. This is very important because what it really does is reducing the strain that your eyes have been put under. You see, our eyes were made to see at a certain distance. Anything that's at close distance and we are using our near vision is making our eyes, the muscles of our eyes contract. So by taking regular short breaks, we give our eyes time to rest. Another thing that's important and also, very frequently overlooked is blinking often. And we forget to blink because we are usually so focused in the task at hand. This lubricates our eyes because when we blink, it squeezes the glands in the eye to produce tears, and it also protects our eyes from irritative substances from the environment, right? So if we don't blink, we are putting ourselves on the risk of developing dry eyes, which is already a risk given the fact that the heat emitted from by the digital screens will make our tears evaporate faster, predisposing us already to having dry eyes. For people who are already affected with dry eyes, drinking more fluids and using lubricant eye drops, which we also call artificial tears, may help. Speaking of our screens, since we are in this topic now, how can we optimize our screens to prevent computer vision syndrome? First thing is making sure the text is large enough in your computer screen or digital device. Consider reducing the glare if that still allows you to see. If it's not possible at all, maybe use a screen glare filter. And you can buy that easily in all major stores such as Amazon and eBay. And there are some very cool ones that they reduce the glare, but they don't really make your screen that much darker. Place your screen at about an arm's length of your eyes. So stretch your arm and see if your computer is at around an arm's length. And with the top of the screen at around the eye level, keeping the center of the screen at a 15 to 20 degree angle from your eyes. And then make sure you don't develop a slouch by sitting with your back straight and your feet comfortably touching the ground. And I'm saying this with a slouch myself. So even if I am telling you to do this, you see that sometimes we also forget ourselves. So you need to polish yourself very often. These are some of the things that you can do to help yourself. And make sure you go to your eye care provider if the small adjustments that you're making in your workplace made no results at all. So to wrap all of this up, computer vision syndrome is not serious, but it can cause a myriad of small symptoms which can be quite uncomfortable. The best way to treat is to prevent with changes to your work environment routine and your posture, and by adopting the habit of taking micro breaks throughout your day. And remember that if left untreated, in the long term, it can and will cause recurrent symptoms, which may reduce your productivity and put you in this vicious cycle. Because with a reduced productivity, you will in turn have to use your digital devices even more, creating even more symptoms. And we want to avoid this feedback loop at all costs. So let's make sure that we strategize our work environment and our lives well enough so that we don't get into this loop. My friends, let's not extend this episode more than we should. Thank you so much for listening to me today. I hope you found this episode useful and that you can extract something relevant from it. We have social media accounts with cool posts and videos. Find us at Eyes on Research on your favorite social media. You'll also find a link in the description of this episode to our support website, which is what we are using to post our articles. Consider subscribing to us there. It is completely free, and you'll see weekly posts about curiosities and trivia about the eyes and vision, as well as hot research updates on topics that did not go on to become a full episode. So please do consider subscribing. You need to click the three dots in the top right corner of the website, provide your email address, and hit follow. In this page, you also have the option to donate or become a member, which is completely optional, so don't feel pushed, but it's highly appreciated. And it does give you access to special posts and cool things like, for instance, suggesting themes for blog posts, short videos, or even full podcast episodes. Otherwise, if you like our work, it would really help if you could give us a rating in whichever platform you are listening to this episode on. Thank you very, very much. Have a wonderful rest of your week, and I'll see you in the next episode. As ever, keep your eyes on research. Bye-bye.